Let's solder the Pico Mini driver. First, we'll get a 180 ohm resistor. That's the brown, brown. And that goes in the place where it says 160k. We're going to bend the leads out so that we can solder that without it falling out of place. Make sure you hold the leads before you trim them. Next, the diode has a little black bar on it, and you need to match that black bar to the symbol on the circuit board. I'm measuring about 2 millimeters away from each end of the diode and just bending that over my thumbnail. Make sure you have it sitting flush against the circuit board so that it doesn't wriggle around later on and break the joint. Let's put in the capacitor, making sure you've got the long lead going where it says plus. Now let's put in the socket for programming. This one can be a little bit difficult. Sometimes the tinning dulls on the pins, so that makes it difficult to solder. But first of all, to hold it in place, let's bend over that end pin and the outside pin. We'll put in the IC socket next. Keeping things nice and low on the board, this is a 14-pin IC socket, and there's a 16-pin for the motor driver. You need to make sure that you have the orientation notches according to the silk screen on the circuit board. Now to hold those in place, we're going to bend over 2 corners of the pins, and this will stop it falling out. Preheat to reseat the socket. Let's put in the second IC socket, remembering the alignment notches. Next, let's put in some pin headers. They'll fall out if you tip it upside down. So make sure you position it properly so that they stay in place while you're soldering. Even though that says stepper motor, that's for 2 bidirectional motors, and the other pin headers for the ultrasonic sensor. We've got another pin header to use. Now we've got the 3x7 pin header. These are for 7 different modules that you can place on the PicoPI, and the closest pin to the microchip is pin 1, which is always the signal wire. Now let's put in the socket for the wires. Make sure you don't put it in the wrong way. We've got to plug wires in there. Make sure you put the jumper on the right way too. It should slide on there nicely. Now let's put in the ICs. They're in the conductive foam. The motor driver has 16 pins. It's a little bit tougher than the microchip because the pins are quite hard. We need to make sure the alignment notch is correct, and we can angle in one side of the pins, put a bit of pressure on it to squash those pins over. You might have to do the same back the other way, just to make sure that those pins fit without sticking out all over the place. We can do the same thing with the microchip. Get the alignment right and make sure one side goes in, squash it over and press it in firmly. We're pretty much done there. We don't need to put the battery box on, but you can twist up the wires now and that'll keep them together nice and tightly. And we'll put the battery box on later when we assemble the PicoPI. So that's the Pico Mini driver and how to assemble it. Thanks for watching.